Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's Lean Publishing Tip of the Day video, where I'm going to be talking about our new author forum that you can join online, where you can post messages and sort of create topics and stuff like that. We're using a new streaming service called to us called Riverside. So there may be a little bit of programming kind of issues the first few times I do this. But as usual, if you're watching this, you're probably watching the recording. You're probably not watching it live. So please jump ahead to the 2-minute mark where we get going on the video proper. If you're watching this, you're probably watching it on YouTube or on our website somewhere. Please like and subscribe wherever you see us. Every single one helps, obviously. And, if you're a Leanpub author, you're helping yourself as well by joining our social media kind of channels and stuff like that. The more people there are on them, the more the algorithm likes them, and the more that everything gets promoted and liked and shared and all that kind of stuff as well. As always, there's also let me just get my screen sharing going here. As always, there is got it. Okay. There is a blog post that accompanies each of these tips of the day. Here's the one for today with the kind of thumbnail at the top there. But eventually there will be a video at the top. You can find all these blog posts on our blog at leanpub.com/blog. If you don't see the post there that you're looking for, please just click the magnifying glass at the top right, and then you can search for the keywords that you're seeing on the screen here. So let's just get ready to do the proper thing. So let me just do my little countdown. We'll do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's Lean Publishing, the 2-minute mark of today's Lean Publishing Tip of the Day live stream. Today I'm going to be talking about our new authors forum. I'll just stop sharing for a moment. So the interesting thing about our authors forum is that it's actually existed for a while, but we've just completely redesigned it ourselves. We had a forum in the past that was based on something called Discourse. The Discourse is great, but it was a third-party thing. I'm now getting a flashback. I must have talked about this here on a tip of the day before. But when, as you know, if you're in the kind of any kind of business or something like that, that if you're using a third-party tool, that it's not yours. You didn't build it. You don't know it from the ground up. All that kind of stuff. And so you are probably going to not use it the way you would use something that's kind of homegrown and homemade. So we've got a new homegrown and homemade authors forum. The reason this exists is for online communities. I mean, Leanpub has authors from all around the world in every time zone. And they're all, discovering things at their own pace in their own new way. In particular, people might be, like new to self-publishing. They might be new to Leanpub. They might have questions that they can't find answers to in our help center, or that they can't, find answers to in our kind of UI itself. And so they might go on the authors forum to ask about that. They might be reporting a bug. They might be reporting something unexpected. The really cool thing about the authors forum is, of course, all the Leanpub team sees everything that happens there, but so do other Leanpub authors. And other authors may have been through what you're going through before. They may have advice and stuff like that to help you with. It's also a great place if you're a self-published author to sort of post your experience. Here's some success I had with some book marketing effort. Here's some failure I had. Here's my advice about, if you are a self-published author and getting invited onto a podcast for the first time, for example, that might be something that you might want to talk about. Like, hey, what do I do? How do I prepare? That kind of stuff. So let me just share my screen again. Still getting used to this new service. And then I'm just going to share the homepage. Just refresh it. I think we've got a new featured book. Oh yeah, there's Gregor's book. And so the way to find the Leanpub Authors Forum is to go to our homepage at leanpub.com and click this new connect option that we have at the top right here. If you see there, this is where you'll see Leanpub events that you can, join, which are a very cool thing that we're still kind of working on. It's a sort of summer project, I guess you could think of it. We do have an author forum that we're showing here and a reader forum. The reader forum is where you can discuss books and stuff like that, where authors have created forum for their books. The settings for these vary. The authors can make it, so that only someone who's bought their book can see it. They can make it so that only someone who's bought their book can, participate in the forum, that kind of stuff. Uh, but the author's forum is on the top. There aren't too many things there, but a couple showed up yesterday, and there are some good examples. So what you can do is you can create a new discussion easily by just clicking this button here. You can and then you can. I'll show you how to do that in a second. But what you can do is you can select categories. We may add categories here. If you have any suggestions for other categories, please let me know. Or please let us know. You can also sign up for little notifications here. In-app means here in the browser, basically, if you're signed into Leanpub. You can also sign up to be notified by email of various things. And you can also get a weekly digest summary of what's been going on. And you can mute a forum as well, which might be kind of something you might want to do after a while if it gets too busy. We're kind of hope the authors forum gets busier. It's brand new, so there's not too much going on there yet. But yeah, and a great example, these are live, kind of real examples. Peter and I just noticed yesterday that Gregor Hoppe, one of our best-selling authors, popped up working on a book and discovered an issue. This was, basically we'd done a big update to book generation process and we missed something. That something meant that, the kind of spacing in Gregor's book when he previewed a new version wasn't the same as it was before. That really sucks. And so Gregor let us know, and we're going to, deploy a change. I think it's actually already fixed. That sort of means that, Gregor can hit the preview button and just get the same as it was before. And so that's like, just an example of the kind of responsiveness that you might get from the forum. Typically, it might not be me or Peter right away, but it might be someone else on the Leanpub team. On these messages, on these sort of like discussions, you can actually click the little notification button at the top here to get notified as well. So you're essentially following the conversation, and you can unfollow it. One thing you can do, let's just create a new discussion here. So if you create a new discussion, you can select a category. Let's do questions. You give it a title. Be how do I add images to my book? And then you can write, your content of your question there, or your initiation of this discussion. You can attach images, which is actually incredibly useful thing for community forums. Not new, we didn't invent it, obviously, but like I can't recommend enough attaching images. Please, if you're a Leanpub author and you've got an issue or you've got a question, particularly with Leanpub or with a book, if you're willing to share an image of what you're seeing, will speed up things like 1,000%. When it comes to sort of getting other people to understand, including it might just be other Leanpub authors, not just Leanpub team members who see it. And if you attach an image, it's so much easier for people to see and understand the issue you're describing if you're reporting an issue, or the question, the nature of the question that you have if you have a question. You can do various formatting things in here. You can add emojis, of course, and stuff. One thing you can actually do is add GIFs using Clippy. So that's kind of fun. The team, with some members of the team, were pretty happy about that feature. And I'll just cancel this. One last thing I just wanted to mention, and this, today's video is pretty quick, but please go join the Leanpub Authors Forum if you're a Leanpub author. The one thing I want to add is we actually don't have a search feature for this yet. I just noticed when I was preparing for this video that we don't have a search feature. Search is going to be an incredibly important part. We're building one right now. Search is going to be an incredibly important part of the forum, just like it was for the last one. I mean, you can find discussions from years in the past. And so if you've got a question and someone's asked it before, if you can't find it in the help center or, ChatGPT or whatever you're searching for answers for, try searching on the forum, authors forum, when we've got that featured live. You might find that someone's asked the question that you have before, and that there's an answer there already. And that's one of the things that these forums are so great for, is getting instant answers to things that people have asked in the past, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can see if someone requested a feature, if we're working on it and we've replied, what our progress is, that kind of stuff. So if you're a Leanpub author, please check out the author forum. Just go to our homepage and click connect at the top right, and you'll see a link there. Post your questions, post your experiences. Essentially, you can treat it like a kind of blog where you can post interesting things and you can interact with other Leanpub authors. And hope you enjoy using this new feature.